Maya had always been careful with her heart. After a messy breakup 2 years ago, she swore she would never fall for someone who reminded her of the past. Yet, here she was, sitting across from Ethan at a small cafe, laughing at a joke she didn't even remember making. Ethan was charming in a quiet, unassuming way. He didn't push, didn't overstep, but he had a presence that made Maya feel safe. She hadn't felt that in a long time, not since Jason. Jason. Just the mention of his name made her stomach twist. He was a storm she had once survived, someone who had promised forever and then vanished without explanation. She told herself she was done with him, that he was gone from her life for good. For months, Maya had focused on herself. New job, new apartment, new circle of friends. She thought she had closed that chapter. And yet, sometimes, in quiet moments, she wondered if she had truly moved on, or if she had only convinced herself that she had. Ethan reached across the table, lightly touching her hand. "You okay?" he asked, voice low, patient. Her thoughts, of course, weren't about Ethan. They drifted back to Jason. She remembered the way he had laughed at her favorite jokes, the way he made even mundane moments feel extraordinary. But those were memories now. Faded, bittersweet, painful. "Hey, I know it's sudden," Ethan said, leaning closer, "but I like spending time with you. I hope you feel the same." Maya swallowed, her heart betraying her rational mind. "I do," she admitted softly, almost afraid she was repeating history. They spent the afternoon walking through the streets of the city. The sky was the kind of gray that promised rain but never delivered. Maya found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in years. She laughed freely, shared small stories, and even teased Ethan about his overly serious coffee order. It was simple, ordinary, perfect in its way. And for a moment, Maya allowed herself to believe that maybe, finally, life was moving forward. But the past has a habit of sneaking back in. That evening, as she returned to her apartment, her phone buzzed. A new notification. She opened it without much thought, until she saw the name at the top. Jason. Her heart skipped. Her fingers trembled slightly as she tapped to read the message. It was short, casual, almost too casual. "Hey, long time. Are you free this week?" Maya's mind raced. She hadn't heard from him in over 2 years. 2 years of silence, of nights spent convincing herself that he was truly gone. And now, just like that, he was back. Panic surged. Then a strange, unwelcome curiosity. Did he want to apologize? Did he want to explain? Or was this some cruel twist of fate? She deleted the message without replying. Her stomach churned, but she didn't want to think about it. Not tonight. Not when she had Ethan. And yet, as she set her phone down and tried to pour a glass of water, the thought wouldn't leave her. Jason, after all this time, what did he want? Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Another ping. But she ignored it. She told herself she had no room for him in her life anymore. She had moved on. Tomorrow, she promised herself, she would focus on Ethan. She would enjoy the new chapter she had worked so hard to start. For now, though, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Something she wasn't ready to face. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more touching tales. Maya stared out the window, watching the city lights blur together in the rainy evening. She felt a mixture of relief and fear. Relief for what she had now, fear for what was coming. Because sometimes the past isn't as gone as we hope, and sometimes it comes back when you least expect it. A shadow of doubt lingered over her, just enough to make her question everything she thought she had left behind. The next morning, Maya tried to shake the weight of Jason's messages. She poured herself a cup of coffee and stared out at the city skyline, reminding herself that he was gone. She had survived him once. She could do it again. Ethan texted her around 10 a.m., asking if she wanted to grab lunch. Maya hesitated. Should she mention Jason? Should she warn him? She decided against it. Ethan didn't need her past complicating their present. By noon, they met at a small Italian bistro. The smell of garlic and fresh bread filled the air. Ethan greeted her with a warm smile, and for a moment, she allowed herself to forget Jason entirely. "You've been quiet today," Ethan observed, studying her over his cup of cappuccino. "I'm fine," Maya said quickly, hoping he wouldn't press. She forced a smile. "Just a little tired." They ate and talked, laughter punctuating their conversation. Maya felt a familiar spark, that sense of connection she had feared she'd lost forever. She wanted to focus on this, on Ethan, on the life she was building. But her phone buzzed again. Maya's stomach sank when she saw Jason's name flashing on the screen. She left it unread. No matter what he wanted, she decided she wasn't going to be drawn in. Not now, not ever. After lunch, they walked along the river. The autumn wind was crisp, carrying the smell of wet leaves and distant rain. Ethan reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. She couldn't. "You know," he said softly, "I'm really happy you're giving us a chance." Maya looked at him and nodded. "I am too." Her voice faltered slightly. She didn't tell him how conflicted she felt, how Jason's sudden reappearance had stirred up old fears. Later that afternoon, she went to her favorite bookstore. Wandering the aisles, she tried to focus on something simple: books, coffee, the soft hum of people around her. And then she saw him. Jason. Not far away, talking to a woman. His laugh, familiar and impossible to forget, drifted through the store. Maya froze, clutching a book to her chest. The woman beside him was laughing, leaning close, clearly comfortable. Maya's heart thudded painfully. This was the life she thought she had left behind. This was the scene she hadn't imagined. But something about it caught her off guard. He didn't see her. He hadn't noticed her yet. He looked ordinary, normal, not the storm she remembered. And that sting of jealousy, of something unspoken, twisted inside her. Maya turned away, trying to pretend she hadn't seen anything, but her mind replayed it over and over. Why was he here now? Was he trying to show her he had moved on? Or had he even thought about her at all during these 2 years? Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Jason. This time, she read it. "I didn't expect to see you there. Can we talk?" Maya's fingers hovered over the keyboard. She felt like she was balancing on a tightrope. Responding meant opening a door she had shut years ago. Ignoring it meant denying a piece of her past. She didn't reply. Not yet. She slipped the phone into her pocket and left the store, her hands trembling slightly. The rest of the day felt strange. The city moved around her in the usual chaos, but she felt untethered. Her thoughts kept drifting to that scene in the bookstore: Jason, the woman, the laugh that still haunted her. When she returned home, Ethan was waiting with a bouquet of flowers. His smile was easy, genuine. "Thought you might like these," he said, handing them to her. Maya forced a smile, her chest tight. "Thank you." But she couldn't shake the image of Jason with that other woman. Her heart ached, not with regret exactly, but with confusion. Because part of her wondered if Jason had ever really been gone, or if he had just been waiting for the right moment to appear again. And now that he had, she didn't know what to do. Maya sat by the window that night, looking out at the city lights. She knew she had choices, but none of them felt simple. She had Ethan, who was steady, kind, and waiting for her trust, and Jason, who was unpredictable, magnetic, and undeniably part of her history. She closed her eyes, wishing the past would stay buried. But some things refused to stay buried. A soft knock at her door startled her. She froze, her heart racing. Could it be him? Maya's hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob. She wasn't sure if she was ready to face anyone, especially Jason. But when she opened the door, it wasn't him. It was Ethan. He held a small paper bag, his brow furrowed. "I was walking by and thought you might need some late-night snacks," he said softly. "Rough day?" Maya forced a smile. "Just a lot on my mind." Ethan stepped inside, his presence comforting. She wanted to tell him everything about Jason, the messages, the bookstore, but the words lodged in her throat. She couldn't explain this yet, not without sounding confused, vulnerable, maybe even foolish. They sat on the couch, sharing chips and soda in silence. Maya watched Ethan, wondering how she could feel so grounded with him and yet so unsettled at the same time. Finally, Ethan leaned closer. "Maya, you know you can tell me anything, right?" She nodded, biting her lip. "I know, it's just complicated." Ethan didn't push. He just held her gaze, patient and steady. Maya wanted to trust him. She wanted to let him in. But then her phone buzzed again. Another message from Jason. "I saw you today," it said. "I didn't mean for it to happen like that. Can we meet?" Maya's chest tightened. Her instincts screamed to ignore it. But curiosity, that dangerous lure, gnawed at her. What could he possibly want after all this time? She slipped the phone into her pocket, pretending she hadn't seen it. Ethan noticed the slight change in her expression, but didn't ask. Hours later, Ethan left with a soft kiss on her forehead. "Sleep well," he whispered. Maya closed the door behind him, heart still pounding. Alone, she sat on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Memories of Jason flooded back. Late-night talks, shared secrets, the dreams they had once had together. For a moment, it felt like no time had passed at all. Then reality hit. 2 years. 2 years without him. 2 years of building a life, healing, moving on. And now he was back. The next morning, Maya received a call from her friend, Claire. "You will not believe who I just saw," Claire said breathlessly. "Jason and some woman. They looked happy together." Maya's heart sank. "I saw them," she admitted quietly. Claire gasped. "You did? Oh, Maya, I didn't want to tell you like that, but he's with someone else." Maya forced herself to breathe. This should have been a relief. Jason had moved on. He wasn't coming back for her. And yet, she couldn't stop the small, sharp sting of jealousy. Later that day, Maya walked in the park, trying to clear her head. She focused on the crunch of leaves under her feet, the cold wind brushing her cheeks. She wanted to forget the past. She wanted to focus on Ethan. But her phone buzzed again. Another message from Jason. "I need to explain," it said. Maya stared at it. Explain what? That he had moved on? That he had left without saying goodbye? That he had hurt her deeply but somehow expected forgiveness now? She didn't reply. She wanted to, but she didn't. Instead, she typed a single word into her notes app. "Why?" Then deleted it. That evening, Ethan invited her to dinner at his apartment. Maya wanted to say yes, but a part of her hesitated. She felt trapped between two worlds, the life she was building with Ethan and the unresolved past with Jason. When she finally arrived at Ethan's apartment, he greeted her with warmth. "You're quiet tonight," he observed, concerned. "I'm fine," Maya lied. But she couldn't stop thinking about Jason. His laugh, the bookstore, the messages. Everything reminded her that the past wasn't as gone as she had believed. During dinner, Ethan spoke about his day, about small victories at work, funny moments with colleagues. Maya smiled, laughed, nodded. She wanted to be present. She really did. Yet, in the back of her mind, a question refused to leave her. What if Jason wasn't truly gone? The night ended with Ethan walking her to her door. He held her hand tightly, as if sensing her unease. "Whatever happens," he said softly, "we can face it together." Maya's heart swelled. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust him completely. But deep down, she knew that facing Jason was inevitable, that some truths couldn't be ignored, no matter how much she tried to focus on the present. That night, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, haunted by memories and unanswered questions, and just before she drifted to sleep, her phone buzzed one last time. This time, it wasn't a message. It was a photo. Jason, with the woman from the bookstore, holding her hand. Maya's breath caught. Her mind raced. What did this mean? Was it coincidence, or was someone trying to make her feel something she thought she had already conquered? Her chest tightened. The past had returned in a way she wasn't ready for, and she wasn't sure she ever could be. Maya stared at her phone long after the photo appeared. Jason, smiling, his hand wrapped around someone else's. The woman looked happy, comfortable, a life that wasn't hers. A part of Maya wanted to scream. Another part wanted to cry. And yet, somewhere deep down, a small, stubborn part told her, it's over. He's gone. Still, the photo had cracked open old wounds she thought had healed. Memories rushed back. Arguments, laughter, promises, heartbreak. She hugged the pillow, trying to calm the storm inside her. The next morning, she couldn't shake the image. She walked to work with her mind elsewhere, almost colliding with strangers as her thoughts twisted around Jason. She had fought so hard to move on, and now this felt like a test. At the office, Claire noticed immediately. "Maya, you look off," she said, concern knitting her brow. "I'm fine," Maya lied again, forcing a smile. "Just tired." Claire didn't press further. Some truths couldn't be shared without unraveling everything. After work, Maya decided to walk through the city streets alone. The rain had left the sidewalks slick and shiny. She breathed in the crisp evening air, trying to center herself. She didn't want to think about Jason anymore. Not now, not tonight. But as she rounded a corner, she froze. Jason was there. Not far, leaning casually against a lamppost. And he wasn't alone. The woman from the photo stood beside him. They laughed quietly, heads close together, completely unaware of the world around them. Maya's heart sank. She should have turned and walked away. She wanted to, but something rooted her in place. She couldn't look away. Jason's laugh reached her, hauntingly familiar. Her chest ached with a mixture of nostalgia and resentment. She realized she wasn't just hurt, she was jealous, not just of the woman, but of the life Jason had moved into without her. The thought of confronting him came, impulsive and reckless, but she knew better. She couldn't let emotions control her actions. Not anymore. She had Ethan. She had stability. She had a chance at real happiness. Yet, even with all that, doubt lingered. Could she ever truly move past him if memories still pulled at her heart so fiercely? That night, she called Ethan. His warm voice on the other end brought a brief sense of peace. She didn't tell him about seeing Jason. How could she? It wasn't about him. It was about her past clawing back. "I'm glad you called," Ethan said. "I was thinking about you." "Me too," Maya admitted, her voice soft. She wished she could tell him everything. yet feared her confession would only complicate things. After hanging up, she stared at the ceiling, her mind racing. She had to make a choice: face the past or continue with the life she was building. Both paths were terrifying. The next few days were a blur. Maya tried to focus on her work, on friends, on Ethan. But Jason's presence lingered in the corners of her mind. Every unexpected notification, every coincidence felt like fate nudging her. Then came the weekend. Ethan had planned a surprise day out. Maya tried to be excited. Truly, she did. But as they strolled through the farmer's market, laughing over silly choices in the produce aisle, she felt eyes on her. She glanced up. Jason. Again. He wasn't alone. That same woman was with him. But this time, Jason looked directly at her. Her heart froze. The world seemed to narrow down to that one moment. She saw recognition flash across his face, then something softer, hesitation. Ethan squeezed her hand, oblivious to the tension charging the air. Maya's chest tightened. She couldn't explain it, but the sight of Jason, even from a distance, made her feel like the past wasn't finished with her. She knew, deep down, that the next step she took would define more than just her heart. They would define her sense of closure, her trust and love, and the life she wanted with Ethan. And yet, a small, stubborn part of her couldn't ignore the pull of old feelings, even as they collided with her new life. Maya looked at Jason one last time before turning to Ethan, forcing a smile she hoped looked genuine. But inside, a storm was building. Because some connections never fully disappear. And some choices aren't as simple as they seem. Maya's phone buzzed that morning. Another message from Jason. She hesitated, staring at it. But this time, something inside her had shifted. She didn't feel the old fear. She didn't feel the old longing. She felt clarity. "Can we talk?" the message read. She typed nothing. She didn't need to. Instead, she put the phone down and focused on the morning sunlight streaming through her window. She had choices to make, and they weren't about running back or holding on. They were about understanding, moving forward, and choosing the life she wanted. Later, Maya met Ethan at a small coffee shop. The warmth of the space, the smell of freshly brewed coffee, the sound of quiet chatter, it all grounded her. Ethan smiled as she approached. "Morning," he said, reaching for her hand. "You look peaceful." "I am," Maya admitted. She realized, for the first time in weeks, that it was true. Not perfect. There would always be echoes of the past, but peaceful. As they sat and talked, she felt the weight of Jason's shadow lift slightly. She didn't need to know his motives. She didn't need explanations or apologies. His chapter in her life was complete. She had learned, grown, and survived, and that was enough. Later that day, she walked past the park where she had seen Jason last. He was there, sitting on a bench, laughing with someone. She paused, her heart quickening, but only briefly. Then she continued walking. For the first time, she truly felt free. Free from jealousy, free from old fears, free from wondering if the past could ever return. Ethan met her after work. They shared a quiet dinner, and this time Maya felt fully present. No lingering doubts, no shadows pulling at her heart. She could laugh again, feel again, love again. That night, as she lay in bed, she reflected on the past 2 years. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the confusion, the lingering feelings. Every part of it had brought her here, to a place of strength and understanding. She thought about Jason one last time. Not with anger, not with longing, just acknowledgement. He had been a part of her story, and now he was a part of her history. Maya closed her eyes and smiled softly. The past didn't define her. It had shaped her, but she was the one who would define her future. Ethan's hand brushed hers in the dark, a simple touch full of warmth and reassurance. Maya felt her chest swell with something pure, something lasting. She didn't need to look back anymore. Because some love is meant to heal, not haunt. Some endings are meant to open new beginnings. And Maya, she was ready to embrace hers. The past had come and gone. The present was hers. And for the first time in a long time, Maya felt whole.